Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Whether you own the biggest construction company in the state or you're just starting your first do-it-yourself home improvement project, the place to turn for top-notch affordable building materials and tools, A.G. Hines Company. They've been doing it for more than 100 years, folks. You don't survive 100 years, and you're not a company that's involved 4 generations of one family if you aren't a darn good company, and that's what they are. You visit them downtown Knoxville on Hines Street. You go to aghines.com. You're going to find out why they're such a good company and why they've lasted that long. A.G. Hines Company. All right, take a look here at the Vol draft prospects. You see where these guys are. For example, Matthew Butler, Lindy's publication lists him as the number 7 defensive lineman available. They have him going the 3rd or 4th round. That's the high water mark for him. Athlon says he's the 8th best defensive lineman. Dane Brugler of The Athletic says he's the 9th best. And then in parentheses, you see the round where these guys are supposed to go. We're going to leave that up for a second, and I'm just going to start with these fellows one by one. Chuck, Matthew Butler was a fast riser. I don't know while watching. He had a good season last year, but I certainly don't think anybody went into the last season thing, yep, this guy's going to be a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. I didn't foresee that one coming. Vince holds up his hand. Chuck, is Matthew Butler the first Vol off the board? Are you buying this, or do you think somebody else slips by him here?
Well, I mean, it's certainly the way it's looking right now, just because 3rd round and most of the other guys you're seeing are 4th or 5th or whatever. I mean, but you're looking at a guy, boy, you wish he had one more year at Tennessee, right? I mean, 6'3", 295. He's shown strength, he's shown quickness, and durable. He stays on the field. He's an effort guy. So, yeah, I mean, 8.5 sacks, right? I mean, you getting that out from a defensive tackle, I think he could go even higher than he is on the position group, but I do think he stands to be a great chance for the first Tennessee player taken.
Well, that's the beauty of all these guys. Is all it takes is one team to fall in love with you. One team falls for you, and you shoot up that draft board. Vince, let's go back to the graphic if we can. The last one, I think I threw my director. I saw the flash on our monitor. There we go. Thanks, Chris. Chris Lane always tears it up for us. Fabulous job. Velus Jones, ranked as the 26th. Everybody sees him the same. 26th best receiver, 27th best receiver, 25th best receiver, somewhere between the 5th and 7th round. Vince, your thought on Velus Jones? That special teams thing could certainly be an impact on him getting drafted.
I think that's the biggest plus. Unfortunately, special teams has been limited in today's world of the NFL. So there is that plus for him. However, at wide receiver, you could envision him maybe as a 3rd or 4th type of wide receiver down the road. But he's not, I talked to scouts about it, he's not a natural hands catcher. He had some drops in Mobile, certainly showed the elite speed, which caught people's attention at the combine. But if you're going to contribute both special teams and at wide receiver, and they're going to use a 3rd or 4th round pick, which is where he hopes to go, I think that's still a little bit of a question for some. But obviously it only takes one team to fall in love with that speed.
All right. Next up, let's go back to the board here. And I'm going to I'll ask Ryan here about, well, actually, I'll ask Josh about this. Cade Mays.
Okay.
You're next to me, so I'll give you this one. Lindy's doesn't even have him listed among their top guards. 10th on Athlon's list, 17th Dane Brugler's list. This is a guy, his father had a what looked to be a good NFL career ruined with an injury while preparing for the draft. He's had his own set of injuries since he's been in college. So I understand him leaving early. But if he winds up going, if you leave early and you go in the 6th or 7th round, did you make a mistake?
I don't think so because of the potential for more injury. He's listed as a guard there. And that's where he projects. Do you want to come back and play tackle at Tennessee, deal with more potential injuries? And he'd be coming back for a 5th year. And do you want to spend a 5th year in college? Now, I know there's the NIL era, so if I was presented an eye-popping number to stay in college, I guess you can make that case. But no, I think you go pro. I would have if I were him, and you try to make a team as a later round pick. I'm sure he was hoping to be picked higher, and I guess he still could be. But I would try to make a team. Look at Trey Smith last year. He was picked later. He was good enough to make a team, start for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's worked out for him. So Cade should have the same opportunity at guard, not tackle.
Okay. Let's go back to the graphic and talk about the last guy up there, and I shifted this around on Vince and Ryan. My apologies. Ryan, I'm going to give you Velus Jones.
Or
I'm sorry, Alontae Taylor. See, I flipped it up on myself, too. Alontae Taylor, his stock has risen. Now, he's listed as a safety by most. You look here, Lindy's has him as a cornerback. That's why his number is 21. He's 21st out of the cornerbacks. The other guys have him as the 11th or 10th best safety. You see he's climbed 4th or 5th round himself. Might he be the first guy out? And also, this is a guy that has had special teams background that could help him.
Yeah, I think he's interesting in this one because the question about him a little bit was what he would run. He had good times in the 40, so I think that answers a lot of those questions. And then the position versatility helps. I think that's something that works in his favor a little bit. If you're looking for a guy who could maybe fit into a few different spots, he's got that versatility. I think most people see safety as his best position, though. But yeah, he could maybe end up. It just depends on what happens with Butler. To me, Butler I think has more. A higher ceiling for where he could go, but Taylor could end up being the first guy off the board, just depending on how things fall. So I like his NFL prospects, and I think the fact that he can help on special teams does give him a pretty good long-term outlook.
Very quickly, you see some guys there who are later round picks. How many of those 4 get drafted? How many drafted guys do the Vols have this week?
I think it's all 4. Yeah, in fact, the scout that I talked to has all of those guys a little bit higher in terms of rounds than maybe some of those projections. So I think they all get drafted anywhere in that 3 to 6 range.
All right, let's take a look at the draft chart. We show you this every year. Usually I show it to you after the draft. That's up next. Have we got that, Chris? There we go. You see the ski slope. What we do is to make it more of a trend line, to make it more accurate, we look at draft picks over 4-year spans. So there at the end, that's 2018 through 2021. If you just look at it by year, it's up and down. You can't really see much. But you can see the huge ski slope from the 98, 2001 range. It just fell off a cliff, and you really haven't gotten it back. You had one good run between 15 and 18 there where you had 16 players drafted. You've had 7 players drafted over the last 4 years, only 2 in each of the last 2 years. So we're thinking Tennessee doubles that this year. All right. Very good. When we come back, let's see if I didn't mess up my own script here. How the Vols have climbed to number 8 in the recruiting rankings. Let's ask Ryan Callahan about that. What are the top reasons behind the recruiting surge? Come on back on the Sports Source.